Good morning, everybody. This is Michael at FOUCH FABS, and I'm recording with my camera right now, and it's been a while, so I'm trying to remember exactly how to use everything, but I'm trying to get you guys some good content here. This is just a small install we have the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It is this one area here. I did have the top in one piece, but it's fantasy brown, and of course it gets a sink here. My trailer opening, it's only about 66 inches. The L here ended up being like 67 and a half, 68 inches. And with the sinkhole and all that, I was afraid leaning it we would break it. So even though it does cost us a little more time out on the job site, and the customers prefer to not have a seam in it, I just thought the chances of us breaking it were too high, so I went ahead and put a seam in it. But we cut the piece in one piece, and we cut it in half to put the seam, so it should line up and look beautiful. I'll show you when we get finished with it. But anyway, we got a nice entrance to the home. It's just a little basement kitchen. And we've covered the floor as usual. I got my partner Tony here with me. You've seen him in other videos. Used to be Mike and Sammy, now it's Mike and Tony. And Tony's awesome. So he works out great. To look at him, I know he looks kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger-ish, but he is very strong. I haven't seen anything he can't carry yet. So alright guys, well, we're going to get this loaded on the cart, and we're going to get started. And as always, I will you know, periodically show you what we got going on. Alright guys, when you're putting your tops in, you want to make sure you catch things like that. A little shim sticking up. Of course, it won't allow you to get your top in toward the wall or anything. So I'm going to cut that out. I probably should have caught it before I even brought the top in, but we are here, so I'm going to cut it out and pop it out of the way, and then we'll push our top back. Alrighty guys, it'd be nice if I had like a film crew to follow me around. That way I don't have to stop and video and talk and all that. But anyways, here's the two pieces. So you can see there is a seam here, but as you can see, it's cut in half, so all the grains and everything match up. The sun's kind of shining right on it, and you know, there's our sinkhole and all of that. So I do got to drill a faucet hole. I didn't want to drill the faucet hole at the shop because it worries me having an extra hole and weakening it, all that. But anyways, we're gonna get started on putting this together. We put a nice rollover out here, that way when we push it in, nobody bumps their hips or anything on it. And we'll get it seamed together and polished and cleaned up and sink mounted, and we'll get out of here.
Animal makes. It still sends me chills.
Alright guys, even though you got a small short little run of cabinets, they can still be out of level.
I've tried to find the reason in it.
So as you can see, I brought my 6-foot level in.
There's something out there in the desert.
Made sure I'm level. And you know, you want to be able to push up and down on it and not have any play.
My name is Brian. I believe that on September.
Did have a little bit back there. I might put just a little bit in the corner, but I'm perfectly smooth here. You can see it looks real good. So another thing, let me give y'all a tip on this, and I know it's, I just forgot to do it. Whenever it's winter time and your temperatures are getting below freezing at night, you definitely want to put your epoxy in the cab of your truck. That way it can warm up on the way to the job. Or you might want to even take it in your shop where it's warm, and you know, then take it back out every day. But also your colors are cold. You want to just keep your whole epoxy bag up front in the cab or inside, so everything can stay warm. And also, all of your you want to keep a couple tubes of silicone and paintable caulk and Black Mamba, if you use it, in the cab of your truck, or maybe even over top of your vents with the heat running, so that they can get softer. Because if They won't freeze solid, but they will get freaking so hard to squeeze out. We'll probably end up taking the torch and just running it over it so we can get it to squeeze out easily. But that's just a little tip, make your life easier, guys. Alright guys, I'm getting ready to run this seam. Tony refused to record for me, so I'm going to try to do it myself and introduce him to the back knife outside. I'm just joking, but I'm going to let Tony film me. You guys have seen us do seams before, but it's been a while, so I'm going to go ahead and show you this one. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is, we know that this stuff here is freaking cold and it's hard to mix up, so chances are this shim will probably break on me, but we'll do the best we can with it. I've already leveled that up, and I've put my Gorilla Grits up and plugged them in so that I don't get hardener and epoxy in here and then realize I don't have power to my Gorilla Grits. I've done that before, you don't want to do that. So we're going to start adding just a little bit of pigment to this. This is fairly close, but you see it's got kind of a yellowish tint. Plus it'll be transparent. You don't want to be able to see the shade through there. I don't. Alright, I'm just going to go with a little bit of gray here. You know, not much. You see how much I put in there? It goes a very long way, guys. And I know a lot of people use the daggone Easy Stone stuff or E-Stone stuff that's used for soft surface. You know, you put it in the caulk gun, squeeze it out, and it's already got the color. I know that stuff's super strong. You know, if people like to use it, you know, more power to them. It's just not my cup of tea. I think I can get my color so much better doing it by hand. If it weren't for the color issue, yeah, I would do it because it is simpler just to squeeze it in there. And it does have a nice bond to it. If you do it right with the two-part epoxy, you'll have a nice bond anyway. This epoxy I'm using right now is K-Bond Elite. It's my favorite. It's a little pricey, but if I'm working on dark stones, I can use just a regular yellowish type epoxy. So now that I've got some colors in, I'm just going to stick it in here and see how close I got to my color. And of course that's in the kind of the pinkish area, but I think that's going to be pretty good what we're looking for there. And I just know because I've done it on Fantasy Brown about 1,000 times. So now I'm going to take some of this and I'm going to put it on an extra piece of cardboard. You know, so I can put my skim coat on there. Then, you know, if I come across any little holes or chips or anything like that in the stone, I won't have to mix another batch. I can just use this left over here. Alright? That's probably still more than I need in here, but anyway. Alright, now, I always want to make sure that I've got a razor blade or two over here ready to use. And depending on how soft the stone is you're working with, you might want to be careful with those. And on quartz, you never want to use a metal razor blade. You always want to use the ceramic ones. They run about $8 a piece. Alrighty, so now we're going to add some hardener to this. I like to use a little bit of hardener at a time. I don't like to put it all in there at once. I put a little bit in there, and I'm going to try to mix it up really good. Especially with this epoxy being very hard and cold. I want to make sure I get a really good mix. I want to make sure I get all that off. Now I want to grab a little bit more. Like that. The colder weather, you have to use more hardener than you do in the warmer weather. That's just how it is. And every year it normally takes me a little while to, you know, get my exact amounts down. So as you can see, I'm still mixing. You just don't want to sit here for 2 hours waiting on your stuff to harden because you didn't put enough hardener in it. And you also don't want to put so much hardener in it that it starts smoking and popping and freaking almost sets on fire and it don't have no strength to it when it holds. and you don't get it set up and level before it hardens up on you. So you know there's a good little area to get it in. Alright, so now we got it all mixed up pretty good. Now we want to make sure we squeeze as much of this down in this seam as we can. And I'm going to pull it just a little further apart here. That way I can get a good amount in here. Now, you guys have maybe seen the video about the seam phantom. If you haven't, I've got a video about the seam phantom. This seam has already had the seam phantom ran on it at the shop. So you know the bottom side is routed out. So you want to make sure you got enough Akimi in there that it fills up that bottom side that's routed out. Now we don't route them real deep. Perfect world, you have like a 30-second you know, routed out area on each side. It's really hard to get it perfect like that, but that's what we try to do. As you can see, I'm squeezing every bit of this down in there that I can. Alrighty. So everything that was on my paper has now been put on here. Now I'm just going to do a quick little wipe over like that. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and just push it back together by hand. You can see it squeezed back out of it there. That's what you want to see. I'm just taking off what I can. Alright, so now I always spray my Gorilla Grips with alcohol or water. Either one works fine. Put them on here. Flip my switch. Make sure I got suction. Then do the next one. Flip my switch. Make sure I got suction. Now I'm good. Now as you can see, I still got a little gap in here where I push it together by hand. It's not totally together. That's what you want. So I'm going to make sure I get this perfectly level. You don't want to pull it together tight when you're going to do adjusting, because you can break it, chip it. It'll rub against the other side of itself. Let me tell you, we're already really, really close. You don't want your razor blade to rub or catch on anything. And it's probably not going to catch if you leveled it up pretty good beforehand, but it will rub a little more on one side than it does the other. And that's when you just want to do a little bit of adjustments. And they're just going to be minor. Alright, now I got my minor adjustments done. Now we're just going to twist this. Pull it the rest of the way tight. So as you can see, the rest of it pulled together. A lot of people will tape theirs off and all that. I've been told my seams are messy. Yes, they are. But damn, they look good when I'm done. I'm going to take my razor and I'm going to double check. So I got a little bit of touch right here. So I'm going to back it off just a hair so that I don't chip it. And I'm going to lower that back down there. Pull it back together. Together, it's shifting back here a little bit, so I have to leave it together and adjust it. You just got to be really careful if you do that, because you can chip your stuff. Alright, we're safe now. I know we're good because I can't even see where it's going together at. I'm not joking. Kind of right there, Tony. You can't even really see where it's going together at. You see that? Alright. Tony, what I want you to do is shine that camera up underneath so you can see the seam on the bottom. What you should have is epoxy squirted out down at the bottom. I haven't looked under there yet, but I'm assuming there is since I put a good amount in there. What I'm going to do is get down there and just wipe over that with my shim so that when the customer looks under there, it looks smooth. It don't have that blob sticking out the bottom. Yep. So, now that also tells you got a good amount of epoxy. It's going all the way through the seam and squirting out the top and squirting out the bottom. Now I'm going to give you another little tip if I can find a heat gun. I'll be right back, Tony. So guys, I don't do anything to my counters while my seam is setting up. You'll have people that try to mount their sink, cut their shims, do whatever. Then they'll go clean off their seam and realize it's out of level now. And they're like, wow, what happened? Well, while you was mounting your sink, you may have shifted it or adjusted it. While you was cutting and popping a shim, you may have adjusted it. So I don't do anything until my seam's at least 70% set up. When it's cold like this, I wish I had my digital or infrared thermometer to show you the temps, but the stone's cold. It's still chilly in the house, but they do have electricity and heat and stuff. The epoxy's cold, everything's cold, so we're going to warm it up with the torch. Fantasy Brown is one of the best stones to hold up to heat, so you don't have to worry about burning it. What you don't want to do is hold this directly to your epoxy. You want to hold it to the left or to the right, up top and underneath. With the Gorilla Grips, a lot of times it's easier to get underneath. But you want to heat up the stone and then let the epoxy heat up by the warmth of the stone. You don't want to just try to heat your epoxy up against cold stone and then it ain't going to hold, okay? So as you can see, I'm kind of warming up the sides of the stone here. You can touch your stone, and I can already tell it's warmer than it was. And if you guys remember, I put a good amount of hardener in this epoxy. I'm just warming up the side. Also, if you get on that epoxy, it'll catch on fire, so you want to be careful. You don't want to catch anybody's kitchen on fire. And then I always take my hand, I just feel how warm it is. I can also touch the epoxy, and I can tell it's already starting to get where it sits up. Summer, this sun gun way already being set up. places that I have held the torch, it is starting to, you know, it's about 30%, 40% set up. And even if just these 3 little areas, you know, where the gorilla grips aren't, you know, if you get that warm to where that area sets up, it'll spread throughout to the other. But just those areas, it's like spot welding it. It'll keep it in place and not let it move on you. I'm going to call that good for the heat. Now as it cools back down, and it should set up really well for us. Then you can also check your cardboard. Your cardboard is never going to be as cold as the stone is. Stone always stays colder than anything else. Those of you that work with granite, you know when you go to grab a slab outside by your hands, that stuff is cold. Sorry for my language. But sometimes it'll have ice on it. You got to chisel it off. But you can see on here, we're already pretty much, I would say 80% set up. And you know, it produces heat while it sets up, but it's still got a little bit to go. So this here, now I can touch it. Here in the middle, it's still not totally set up. Still a little moist. But in those 3 areas, it's pretty good. The main thing is, I know now that it's probably not going to move on me. It's set up enough to where it will probably hold. So we're going to give it another 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and start removing our gorilla grips and clean it off and all that. It's better sometimes to pull it off before it's 100% set up and cut that epoxy. It cuts a lot easier. If you let it get 100% hard, sometimes it can be a bear to cut off of there. Move it, then it shifts. You got to clean everything off and redo it. It's a pain in the butt. I'll go ahead. I know it's set up enough now to where that I can go ahead and just cut these shims. I know it's not going to affect my seam any. I'll go ahead and pop these off. Now you can use your razor knife, or you can use your multi-tool. If they're really easy to cut, there's not all the way down to the end. A lot of times I'll use my blade, just less chance of scratching the cabinet or anything if I use my blade. A false front here, it'll pop off. You want to be careful because sometimes this plastic will break even if you do everything correct. But it allows you to get to these shims here without like scratching the cabinet or anything like that. Thing is, you just always want to try to stay busy and be doing something, not just wait to watch the paint dry. Alright, I'm 100% confident that it's set up enough in the areas that it has set up that it's not going to move on us. So, we are going to go ahead and remove this and show you guys how we scrape it and everything like that, okay? First thing I'm going to do, remove my suction. I always reel mine in. Just in case it's not set up enough, I don't pull it apart. I'd rather pull it tighter than pull it apart. I just put these back in here as I go. There's one. Move this one in. Alright, there's number 2. Go ahead and unplug this. Pop this up. Alright. That's water. I want to find my alcohol.
Right there.
So I got my alcohol. Always spray my seam with alcohol before I go to cut it. Just makes it so much softer. Got my razors over here. And because I didn't let it get 100% hard, it's going to cut a lot easier for me. Alright, I'm going to spray it one more time and just go over any little pieces I may have missed with that first little scrape. Make sure it doesn't move on me at all. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and trim the front here. Alright. So of course we'll have to polish that, but I'm going to let Tony show you guys what we ended up with here. I think it looks freaking pretty nice. I can see a little bit in the back here, but and it looks really good. And then we'll just stop recording, and then we will touch base with you when we get a little bit further. Guys, this faucet bit, from what I can read on it, it's a Challenger Q maybe, speed CB138 or C8138. I think I either got it off of the Levi truck or the Stone Direct truck, Direct Stone truck. I've used a lot of other faucet bits. My favorite was the Terminator. None of my trucks carry them. Braxton Bragg don't carry them anymore. I was able to find like 2 of them on Amazon, bought them. But now I can't find any on Amazon. If I do, they're asking unreal prices for them. When I say unreal, I'm saying like 200 bucks when they should be like 60, 70. Anyway, these here, I don't remember the exact price. They're right around whatever any other faucet bit is. And they just eat through the stone. They are awesome, man. And you want a good faucet bit. Definitely, we try to drill them all at the shop, but even drilling them at the shop, you want a good faucet bit. But like I said, if I have a stone that I don't want to make it even more fragile by drilling holes in it. If you want people to continuously call you and aggravate you, look online at the best like medical insurance you can get. And they will non-stop call all day long. It's aggravating as crap. But that's why my phone keeps ringing, guys. Alright, here we go. That's us, guys. It's pretty quick. You want to kind of move your bit as you drill, and it'll heat through it pretty good. I always spray a little water on my bit, that way I don't burn myself or my partner don't accidentally grab it and get burnt. So if you spray some water on it, it'll cool it down enough to where you can, I still wouldn't grab it definitely with my lips or anything, but it'll cool it down enough. But anyways, that's it for now. Alrighty guys, I think I say that every time I turn the camera on, so I'm sorry. The install is finished. I'm going to walk you down it real fast. You know, I stressed and stressed and stressed about putting a seam in this. I so wanted it to be one piece, but I was so afraid we would break it, getting in and out of the trailer and laying it and getting it on here with this sinkhole in it. I think that sink looks good. That size sink in here in the downstairs kitchen. It's a one-hole faucet. I was going to go ahead and set that faucet in there and make sure it fits. Tony, you can just keep recording. I always like to, you know, just make sure sometimes, you know, they won't fit in here real good and you have to waller the hole out or something. And, you know, it's a pain in the butt for the customer and for you to have to drive back out to the job and, you know, have to waller the hole out. But this one looks like it fits real well. I'm going to put the weight back over here with the rest of their stuff in the faucet. Looks great. I'm going to take the film back from Tony. So there's the faucet, one hole faucet, nice clean look. That's the most common style people use. Looks like they're getting a stove over here, I guess. Then they didn't need a dishwasher bracket because they got that piece of wood there. Tony caulked out underneath everything. He done a real good job getting the caulk bead nice and clean. The cabinets were fairly level, not too bad at all. Like I said, the sink turned out really good. We always painter's caulk the back of the walls here. That way if they spill anything before they get their tile up, or if they're not going with any tile, it'll also protect the cabinets if anything gets spilled. And if they want to touch up paint, they can paint that and it'll look like the wall blends directly into the countertop. Give you a look down it this way. I want you guys to notice how good it looks even with a seam in it. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm just showing if done properly and you use the seam phantom and the Gorilla Grips, you can make seams very, very nice. This one was not even surface polished because, you know, if you do it right, level it up and use what you're supposed to use, you don't have to surface polish it. I mean, you can see it because it is two pieces of stone glued together. But, you know, it is not too bad if you ask me. Right up here where it's dark, you can see it a little bit. But I think it's awesome. I think it looks great. I'm happy with the decision to put the seam in it rather than taking a chance on breaking it. It's in here in one piece. It's stable. It's got a seam that looks awesome. So the last name of these customers were White. They are out here in Morganton on Powerhouse Road. So Whites, if you guys are watching this video, thank you very much for being an awesome customer. When I looked at the paperwork, there was a note saying where they had put the spare key for us to enter the house. They allowed us to come into their home, do our job, leave, not have to worry about somebody standing on top of us, watching us work, making us nervous. You know, sometimes customers will be really nice, and it's nice to have them around, but sometimes they can be having a bad day, and it just makes us more nervous, and you just don't end up with the best product. I don't care what your job is. Anybody out here watching this, whether you're a granite person, whether you do tattoos, haircuts, you know, paint, whatever. It makes your job a lot harder if you have somebody on top of you critiquing every move you make on what you do. It just makes it hard. So, Whites, thank you. Thank you for trusting us. Thank you for your business. I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas. I hope you love your countertops. We always leave an aftercare sheet. This tells the customers about cleaning, sealing, you know, to wipe the sealer off the following morning, any haze that's left with a dry rag or a paper towel, and you know, don't touch the silicone or the painter's caulk until in the morning. Don't hook up your plumbing until in the morning, all that. But guys, thank you for watching very much. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, we really appreciate it if you do that. Our goal was to try to get 1,000 subscribers before Christmas, and I don't think we're quite going to get there, but we're getting close. So any new subscribers will help us, and if you'll share the video and give us a thumbs up, we appreciate it. I'll see you on the next one, guys. Happy Thanksgiving and Merry Christmas.